On this document we want to look at how we can include headers and footers within section breaks. And why would you do section breaks? On earlier courses we did show you how to put a header and footer information at the top and bottom of every single page in a document you print out. But there are occasions when you may want to change what goes in the header or footer of a particular section of the document. So as you know, to put a header in, I can just double click in the top part of the page just here, and it takes me into the header. And you'll also notice I've got a new ribbon bar called header and footer, and in the navigation section just here I can go to the footer and go to header. Now if I was to put some text in the header and the footer, it's going to appear at the top and bottom of every single page. So what I want to do before I start this, I want to put in some section breaks. Now in previous courses when talking about page breaks and section breaks are where we isolate a part of the document. So let's decide where we want to isolate it, and say that we want to change the header in maybe chapter 3. Now chapter 3 is down here, but I do want to tidy up the other parts of the document. I want chapter 2 to start at the top of the next page. I'm going to put in just a standard page break. Now I'm putting in a manual page break to force this to the top of a new page at the bottom, and we do that by doing Control and Enter. So we've got a page break starting here with chapter 2. I then want chapter 3 to start on a new page. However, I also want this to be isolated from the other pages in this publication. So I don't want to click here and do Control Enter. That will do just a page break. We need a section break, and to do that we go into the layout ribbon, breaks, and choose the section break for the next page. Now although it looks identical to what we did with a page break, this break here is a section, so it's almost like having a fence up here that isolates this page here. Now if we go back to the top of the document, watch what happens when we go into adding a header and footer. When I double click in the header part, you'll now see this little tag has changed. It did say, if you look back on the video, when we came in here before, it said header, and that was it. Now it says header section 1. Now what that means is whatever I type in here is going to go in the header part of all of the pages that belong in section 1. So what I do is I type in the name of the document, Black Gold, in there, press enter. I'll do 3 hyphens and enter. That will give me a line across the page. I now want to go to the footer. Remember to always use your navigation. A lot of people make the mistake of scrolling down. That just confuses everything. It's better to use these navigation buttons. Go to footer, and in the footer I want to put some page numbering. So I'm going to go up to my page number button and choose current position, and I'm going to choose this one here where it says page X of Y. That will tell me how many pages I've got, page 1 of 5. Now what we want to do is, if I go back to header, I now want to go down to my second section. Remember, that's chapter 3. All we do if you look here, we've got two buttons, previous and next. What that means is do you want to jump to the next section? And if I choose next, it jumps down to section 2. You can see that labelled here, and you'll also notice it's gone to chapter 3, which is our last page. Now I want this to be different to the other 4 pages, but if you have a look over here, it says same as previous. What it means is that this header is the same as the previous section header. Before I make changes to this, I need to unlink this, and if you look here, there's a little button called link to previous. In other words, this header is linked to section 1. If I turn that off, now if I change this to chapter 3 black gold, now the footer I don't want to change, so I'll leave that as is. If we now come out of this by double clicking onto the document, you can now see that my last page has its page numbering and this title, chapter 3 black gold, in the header. But if I scroll up to page 4, it's just got black gold, and page 3, page 2 and page 1. And that's a useful way of using section breaks when you need your header and footers to be different throughout the publication.